Okay, so we skipped the Miss Hudson episode, and now we're on the missing man, or missing Mr. Mackenzie. And we're gonna do some of this and see if stuff changes, because these two boys that are about to arrive go off on their own some. Maybe we can join them this time. Next to arrive were Akachi and Kobayashi. According to one of the guards on patrol, it happened late in the night at the weekend. He claims he spotted a suspicious man rushing out of the classroom, and upon further investigation found the room in this state.
His first instinct was that it might have been part of a burglary of sorts, so he reported it to Scotland Yard and had them examine the academy from top to bottom. But no one was able to find anything else out of the ordinary or gone. This room is the only change.
By the sound of it, they had gone to question the school's guard immediately after seeing the classroom.
I assume Scotland Yard left the room as it was to preserve the crime scene. How thoughtful of them.
I don't suspect our criminal selected chalk on a whim either. There's very little excess chalk powder, and the writing on the desk is finely printed, indicating great familiarity.
We're meant to catch criminals, Akachi, not praise them.
Praising them was not my intention in the least. Still, I think we're dealing with a very methodical individual. Despite a sense of urgency in each stroke, the letters are written in orderly lines and are clearly legible.
I can read textbooks well enough, but my English reading and writing skills aren't good enough to handle scribble like this yet.
The way the letters curl at the end is quite distinctive, thankfully. I feel like I've seen handwriting exactly like this somewhere before. Where was it? Mr. Mackenzie.
Mr. Mackenzie.
Holmes and Marple, speaking with such snappy unison, spelt the writing on the wall better than any chalk could. I, too, couldn't help but feel I'd seen this handwriting.
All right, class. In our previous lesson, we covered the cipher used by Mary, Queen of Scots, and her co-conspirator Babington when they exchanged letters. And that's why today, we're to cover a cipher used in a completely different country. France. The one used by Queen Marie Antoinette, to be precise. Take a gander at the blackboard. As you can see, the most distinctive feature of this cipher is that ampersands are used frequently, in addition to letters.
I think they might be right. He does have a tendency of curling his letters at their ends when writing on the blackboard.
It takes a keen eye to be conscious of unique quirks in your teacher's handwriting. Such a thing occurs as much in English as it does in Japanese, apparently.
Akachi wasted no time in jotting down notes.
Where is Mr. Mackenzie? He should be here by now, shouldn't he?
What an obvious thing we missed. As he said that, the school bell chimed to indicate the start of lessons. The classroom door creaked, and we all turned, expecting to see him at the doorway.
Mr. Mackenzie's not in, so we're to work on our own for first period.
Lupin was standing there, typical meek posture and all, instead.
He's not in.
How peculiar. He's never been absent for a single day since I've been in attendance. The mysteries are piling atop one another by the second.
Wait a second.
Is something wrong, Watson?
Not wrong, but the other day, he mentioned something about not having very long left.
What? He said that?
He did. He looked even gloomier than usual when he said it.
What if he's been targeted by someone?
And leave a veritable novel across the walls for us to decipher? It's a bit dramatic, don't you think?
Whatever's happening must be very serious for him to resort to something so drastic.
Did you hear anything, Lupin?
I do know he never contacted the school to say he was going to be absent. So, you don't think it's bad, do you?
Calm down, Lupin.
Holmes's eyes were focused on the cryptic writing.
Mr. Mackenzie must have been trying to tell us something by leaving these messages. That said, there is a possibility we are dealing with a serious case here. We'd best proceed with caution.
You're right. Actually, speaking of cases, I meant to, before we start, show you the new status of our girl. She is upgraded to C detective rank, and she's got a little bit of green ink with Akachi. Watson's still winning the affection race so far, though. The normally fun, pleasant atmosphere of the classroom had devolved into one of great tension.
But leaving things as they are does us no favors, unless we want to be covered head to toe in chalk by the time we go home. I propose copying down all the messages and wiping everything down.
I've taken care of half of that already. Here's a copy for you, Holmes.
Watson proudly shared a piece of paper with the coded messages copied on.
Very impressive, Watson. I'm glad I can count on you for a simple task like this, at least. No one makes a compliment sound like an insult quite like you, my dear friend.
I've made a copy for myself as well.
As have I. And here's an additional one for your reference, Kobayashi.
Much obliged. I'm finished with mine.
What about you, Jack? Are you finished? The class's gaze centered on Jack, who was sitting at his desk.
Don't care. Huh. I see you made your own copy. The ink on your fingers, despite first period having only just begun, tells me everything I need to know. Very quick work. Sod off, Holmes.
Jack turned away from all of us. All right, then. Can anyone here decode this?
Not me, I'm afraid.
I haven't a clue, but we might find something if we go to the library.
That's a fine idea. Shall we get going, then? Sitting here pondering isn't going to get us anywhere.
All right. Good luck. We'll wait here, so if you find anything out, come and let us know. Of course. Best of luck on your end as well.
We may well have stumbled into a major case here, and I couldn't be more thrilled about it. Let's solve this!
Kobayashi, you do realize the only reason we're enrolled here is due to Mr. Mackenzie's generosity? I find it highly improper that you should behave this way when his life may be on the line. Cease at once.
I know.
At that point, Jack caught my eye. He was showing no obvious interest in accompanying us. It's possible he knows something we don't. He may feign disinterest in the cipher, but he did jot them down. Unsurprisingly, he was half-lidded and watching nothing in particular. Shall I engage him? Nah, not this time. Not at this time. I stared wordlessly at Jack, observing his usual routine. I always see him looking out the window.
Something funny on me face. Can you understand any of these messages, Jack? They've got nothing to do with me. Doesn't matter to me if our teacher misses work, or if I can't get me head around all this rubbish. Are you the type of man who could comfortably ignore a letter that was addressed to you? That a problem? It's not like I get a lot of them. That's all the more reason you should try and at least decode the one that was on your desk.
Jack sent Holmes a frosty glare. Holmes, meanwhile, stood and stared in silence.
Bah, I said it already. It's not me business. If you want to decode 'em, get on with it.
The matter settled as much as any matter with Jack could be, he sat back down. I thought it a shame we couldn't get him to help us. As we were about to leave the classroom, someone called out to me.
Miss Whiteley.
Akachi approached.
Yes?
I do apologize for this, but I think it would be for the best if Kobayashi and I were to split off from the rest of the group.
What? Why?
I would appreciate it if you didn't look quite so sad. I'm not suggesting that the two of us don't want to work alongside you. Rather, if Mr. Mackenzie truly is in danger, then it's possible it will be too late by the time we decode these messages. The two of us intend to try pursuing the case from other angles, in hopes that we can discover anything else that may help us.
So we'll leave the deciphering to your side. Best of luck!
That sounds less like helping and more like dropping the hard work on us. Don't jump to conclusions, Watson. What they're saying makes perfect sense. There are times when it pays to look at a case from a completely different angle.
What shall I do? I gotta call out to them this time. Whoa, got that heart.
Wait, Akachi! Kobayashi! If we are able to decode all the messages, then I'll leave something here for you. Come back, alright?
That might not be such a good idea, Emily. Depending on how serious this turns out to be, we can't afford to leave messages strewn about in the open. There's no telling who might see them.
You raise a fine point.
If you have anything that you need to tell us, leave a message inside this puzzle box.
You have a puzzle box? As he said that, Akachi produced a tiny box that was small enough to fit in the palm of his hand.
My! What a pretty little thing!
This is a small wooden box used to guard secrets that's widely loved in our country. They are known by a variety of names. Himitsubaku, Saikubaku, Karakuribaku.
Wow! You brought that all with you all the way here?
Of course. No matter where we are, we should never forget the spirit of our nation. Opening this box involves following a series of very specific steps. Without knowing them, it becomes considerably difficult to open. I intend to trust in your capabilities and teach you how to open it, Miss Whiteley. Do you think yourself up to the task?
Very much so. Please do.
Then I shall begin. I will only say this once, so listen closely.
Akachi set about showing me how to open the box. Okay, I'm writing this down. I'm writing this down just in case I need to actually open this. Okay.
First, you move the left panel downwards.
Okay. 1. Left panel down. Okay.
Next, you move the upper panel to the left.
Okay. 2. Upper panel to left. Okay.
Then you move the right panel downwards.
Okay. Number 3. Right panel down. Okay.
Finally, you move the upper panel to the right.
And 4th and last, upper panel to right. Okay. Got it. I will keep that nearby just in case.
Should you follow my instructions to the letter, the box will open. Have you committed them to memory?
I certainly have. And my notebook.
It won't open if you miss even a single step. And you can't force it to open either. It'll break in that case.
It's as he says. So please, treat it with the utmost care and respect.
Okay, this is not going how I really thought it was. I thought we were going to join them. But instead he's left us a puzzle. With the key to unlock his heart. No. But that's really interesting.
This truly is a marvel. We have keys and ciphers and such to keep things secret. I had no idea Japan used simple yet elegant devices like this.
It's a relatively simple one in comparison to others. Whilst this one only requires 4 steps to open, there are some boxes so complex that they require as many as 72.
That many?
Such is the skill of Japan's finest and most capable artisans. Incidentally, the word used in Japan to refer to such an artisan is takumi.
They look so simple, even when they're filled with years of experience and technology from Japan's finest craftsmen. I promise, I'll take good care of it.
I accepted the box from Akachi.
Only if you promise to take good care of yourselves, naturally. And meanwhile, we'll do the best we can to decode these messages.
Thank you. We shall pray Mr. Mackenzie is safe.
We'll see you later, and good luck!
Akachi and Kobayashi hurried out of the classroom.
If he's already been caught in something, then we can't afford mistakes when decoding the cipher.
Okay, so I guess we're back with our motley crew. I can probably skip ahead for some of this then. Okay. So I need to do classified documents on major crimes. Get my detective skill up. And... I don't want to help any of you guys, so I'm gonna let the timer go so that I hang out with Marple. Like I did in Holmes' bad ending. Your time is up. Okay, I'm actually gonna save here. Just because I don't... The dialogue should stop while I'm skipping, but just in case, I don't want to mess up the whole puzzle box puzzle. So... Oh. The first word is... I remember it being my. Okay. Oh, right! I need to leave a message for Akachi. Okay. So, let me get my notes.
Is that smart? Mr. Mackenzie left his message in code because he didn't want it to be easily read. So it would defeat the purpose if we left the answer out for anyone to see.
Watson, where were you when I was having that discussion? So he did. I know! This is the perfect time to make use of that puzzle box! You guys share a brain cell sometimes, I swear. Alright, we've deciphered the messages and enclosed within are our findings. We're to make our way to the address mentioned. This should do the trick. Now I just need to place it inside the box. Okay, so the first one is left panel down. I need to open the box. What was the first step? Left panel down. The left panel goes downwards. Right, that worked. Okay, number 2. Upper to the left. The second step is that one. The upper panel goes to the left. So far, so good. Okay, next is right down. Third step is the right panel goes downwards. All right, one more step. And that's up to the right. Okay. Thank you, notes. The final step is up to the right. The upper panel goes to the right. I did it! It opened! And we unlocked his heart. Look at that. Now to put the note inside. Perfect. I repeated the steps in reverse order and successfully closed the box. Oh, thank goodness I didn't have to do that. I then placed it inside Akachi's desk. Akachi, Kobayashi, as soon as you find this, I hope you'll come right to us. Okay, so now we find Mr. Mackenzie. Okay, so he didn't show up during the whole rainy bit. Ah, I nearly forgot. Did Akachi read the message I left for him? Perhaps I'll pop back into the classroom and see. Aw, Marple didn't pickpocket a note into our jacket. I set off for the academy. I saw no sign of Akachi or Kobayashi once I returned, but there was one thing that had changed. What's this? I could have sworn I placed this puzzle box in Akachi's desk. At odds with my memory, however, I found it in my own. Ah. I opened up the box the same way as I had earlier, thinking its appearance somewhat peculiar. There's a letter here. This must be from Akachi. His handwriting is immaculate. Aw, look at that smile, though.
To Miss Whiteley, I received your message. That you remembered my instructions on how to open the box is a dear sentiment to me. As it is possible we may miss one another, I leave this notice in declaration of thanks in my stead.
Always so diligent, isn't he? Ah, and there's more.
I would like you to have this puzzle box for your own use. May it serve you well and protect your most treasured secrets.
Akachi. I wordlessly place Akachi's letter in my pocket and close the box a second time. That is so sweet. Our first gift! from Akachi. So nice. It dawned on me that tomorrow would be another day in which we and Mr. Mackenzie would learn and work as a team of detectives. This mystery had been solved, but there would be more to come to test our bonds. I could still feel the essence of Akachi's touch on the small wooden box. That he, too, once held this precious thing warmed me to my soul.
Aw, so sweet.
Alright, and I think it's picnic time! Yay! Okay, so we're gonna have to go run through this again. See if any of the other options with Akachi work. We can skip through all these stuff, though. We'll watch his bugs. I'm curious if, like, anything you do with Watson works. Let's call out to him and see what happens. That's the only one I haven't tried yet. I decided to call out to him. Watson, have you spotted anything interesting yet?
Emily? No!
Poor boy. He must not have expected anyone to disrupt him. Oh, he lost his balance as he searched for me, slipping right out of the tree in the process. I'm so sorry.
Ow! Ow, ow, ow!
I'm so sorry, Watson. Are you all right? I hadn't intended to give you such a fright.
No, there's not a scratch on me. It doesn't hurt at all.
He did his best to smile and convince me, but the pain won out and he couldn't help but wince with every twitch.
Never mind it. Did you need me for something?
Yes, I did. It's not often we get a chance for the class to have lunch together like this, so I thought you might want to join in.
Oh, it's time for lunch already? I'd love to join. I'll be right.
He tried to stand up, but awkwardly froze in place. What is it, Watson?
You see, my back hurts like the devil.
I suppose it would. My apologies.
No! Please, it's not your fault. With a bit of rest, I'll be good as new. Really. I'll be along later, alright? Would you mind waiting?
Of course. Get some rest. I decided to go and speak with someone else for the time being. Okay, so not all of that works for Watson. I hurt my poor boy again. After all the pain he had to endure on his own route. I'm so sorry. Yeah, I'll give you a second, my dude. Okay, there we go. That ought to get you along. Alright, now Watson, I'm coming for you. I'll watch. So we don't have the romantic moment in the trees. Alright, someone else. And Lupin with his only thing that we can do, which is playing a practical joke on him. It's the only way to get him to join. Okay. Who's next? Hudson. Joined in on the fun. And Kobayashi. This one. Was Akachi here? No. Who haven't I gone and spoken to? The most important person. Akachi was with Kobayashi when I last checked. I surveyed the park and quickly spotted him still leisurely sitting along the grass. Okay. I'm going to save here, just so I don't... Well, I mean, I can skip through pretty quick. I don't really need to save. As I began to draw closer, however, Kobayashi met eyes with mine and put his finger on his lips.
Is it alright if he rests some more? It's not every day he relaxes like this, so I'm sure he's built up exhaustion, something fierce.
Oh. He'd somehow managed to fall asleep sitting up, his knees hunched chest high. But even tired as he was, he still had his katana propped against his shoulder, as if he were well on his guard.
I'd like to go tour the park, so stay with him.
If you don't mind, that is.
Without waiting for an answer, up he went and disappeared.
Oh! Kobayashi!
Oh, well. Since I'm here, I think I'll... watch him sleep worked before. Let's try sitting next to him. I decided to sit down next to him. The sun's warming rays felt like heaven against my skin. The weather is simply beautiful today. I'm tempted to take a nap myself.
Is that...
Oh! The once sleeping Akachi had straightened himself out when he saw me.
How long have you been there?
Only a few moments. I'm sorry, did I wake you?
No. I woke up of my own accord, albeit not intentionally. But that in itself is concerning. It appears I need more training if I can't even notice you sitting next to me.
You're a funny one. You have training on your mind at a time like this?
Always. A single careless moment is all it takes for any damage to become irreparable.
He was alert enough, certainly, but he seemed very tired as well. Akachi, I'd rather you weren't insulted by this, but you are getting enough sleep, aren't you?
You needn't worry. About me. I slept very well. 3 days ago.
3 days ago? Don't say that's the last time you properly slept.
Is that really so surprising?
I think the most surprising thing here is that you don't believe it is.
I still have many, many more things that I need to learn.
Why are you so diligent?
I cannot afford to waste valuable time sleeping.
Akachi? He's drifted off again. And I didn't have the heart to wake him up after hearing his rather demanding schedule. I think I'll invite him after he's had more time to rest. With that, I stood back up as quietly as I could and went off to find someone else. And by someone else, I mean I'm going to go through that again. Well, we learned some crazy stuff about him, at least. Let's admire his katana wiggly eyebrow. Akachi normally had his katana at his waist, but it was propped against him at the moment. I realized it was the first time I'd seen it unattached, so to speak. It must be very precious to him. He never lets it out of his sight. Curious, I eased my hand towards it. I would not do that if I were you. As I was about to touch the sheath, however, I was stopped.
Do you have some business with me?
The once sleeping Akachi gave me a particularly disconcerting glare, and I stopped. Oh! Akachi! Perhaps I...
Stop that, Akachi! You're glaring at her like she's the devil!
Kobayashi had suddenly intervened.
Only a child would behave that way.
Of course. My apologies.
He stood and returned the blade to his side, but his expression didn't soften in the slightest.
If I might offer an explanation, Miss Whiteley, remember this. This blade is like my very soul. I would ask that you not handle it carelessly.
I see. I apologize, Akachi. I won't do it again.
I'm also at fault to an extent. I should have warned you in advance, given that I know how naturally curious you tend to be. Try not to fret over it much. So long as you stay away from this blade in the future, I am content. Please.
Akachi averted his gaze from me uncomfortably before walking away.
Don't mind it, Emily. That blade means a lot to him, so I hope you don't take his anger to heart.
I would never! I had treated something he treasured as some curious novelty. This is my fault.
Come along, Kobayashi.
All right. Talk to him again in a bit, Emily. He'll have gone back to normal by then.
After saying that, he went to join Akachi. Well, I'm not really surprised by that. I didn't think that was gonna go well, and I was right. But I'm like, well, maybe CG somehow? But it was not to be. Apparently only Lupin and Watson get CGs during this bit, so we're gonna watch him sleep. I peered at Akachi's face. He must be awfully exhausted. I didn't really want to wake him up when he was sleeping so soundly, but I also thought it would be a shame to leave him out of all the fun. Oh? As I was wondering what to do, his eyes opened, with me being the first thing he noticed. Good day, Akachi.
Miss Whiteley.
He did seem surprised, but only briefly.
Do you have some business with me? It's a bit difficult to remain composed when you're staring so keenly. And I can't help but feel that you're unusually close. I beg your pardon. This is quite normal in the West, isn't it? Though your face is concerningly red. Do you have a fever?
Apparently intent on finding an answer, he reached out his hand and felt my cheek. My lord! Is he still half asleep? I wanted to invite you to something.
Oh? To what, may I ask?
The question was accompanied by an inquiring expression. You may, of course. How would you like to join everyone for lunch? It's the first time we've had a chance to do so, and I think we ought to make the most of it.
Do I have the right to refuse?
Does that mean you wouldn't like to, then? I hadn't expected his response. He was so blunt in his rejection, I was certain the sadness showed. I'd so been looking forward to eating together.
All right, I'll go. So please, don't look at me with that lonely expression. I've no idea how to react to such a face.
With some discomfort, he stood. You will? Oh, bless you! Still, how are you feeling? Are you not tired?
Not to worry. I've had plenty of rest.
You liar.
And if I were to stay here, I could find myself waking up to those eyes again. I'd rather something so unsightly not happen a second time.
Unsightly? What was unsightly? Oh, perhaps you meant how you looked while sleeping? I never thought such a thing. I found your face quite pretty, if I'm honest.
Pretty is not ordinarily a word one uses to describe a man, I believe. And, that wasn't quite to what I was referring.
Oh?
No, it matters not. Shall we go have lunch now?
But what was unsightly about my face? I was about to go with Akachi before remembering someone else I had yet to invite. Okay. I'm sorry, Akachi, but I must go invite Jack to join us. I'll be quick, so would you go on ahead?
Very well, but try not to take too long.
I won't. I'll see you soon. We parted ways and I set off to gather Jack. Gotta go gather my Jackie boy. Everyone agreed to join. Isn't that great? So now we're gonna call out to Jack. And run with him back to the picnic. And now we have the picnic scene. All right, please, have your fill. Hello, everybody. One by one, I'd taken out the lunchboxes from the basket Pendleton had prepared for me. There's more than enough, Jack. I'll need you to eat as much as you can stomach. A typically cold response, but he didn't leave, which I considered enough of a success. As for you, Marple, here's the maids of honor you were promised. They're in here, so eat as many as you like. They look splendid. Seemingly impressed, she happily helped herself. I'd love it if you would try mine as well. I put my whole heart into making them. Oh, thank you. It would be my pleasure. And, of course, the two of you are welcome to try whatever catches your eye. How about these?
You know how to make tamagoyaki?
They're very different in shape to the ones we know.
They're called omelets. What's a tamagoyaki?
It's a dish made by beating then cooking eggs before rolling them into a rectangular shape.
In Japan, eggs are a staple of the rich and wealthy. They're not a food common people partake in every day.
Is that so?
Let's try some, Akachi!
Calm yourself. There's no need to rush. The eggs aren't going to flee the table if you don't eat them this instant.
Thanks, Emily!
I shall try some as well.
Well? What do you think?
Delicious! I love the fluffy texture. First a custard tart, and now this?
I agree. The seasoning is just the right strength, I might add. The accompanying sauce complements the dish nicely.
Pendleton's cooking had found itself 2 more fans. I'm so pleased you like them. There's a whole other range of things to sample now, so please, sample away.
I would love to, but there's a mountain of food.
It's disrespectful not to eat all you've been offered.
Jack, meanwhile, had been nibbling his way through a bacon, lettuce, and tomato sandwich. I'm so glad he's eating with us after all. Lupin, who was sitting opposite of me, had taken to sighing whilst opening and closing his lunchbox. You aren't going to eat, Lupin?
I will, but you see...
Something wrong?
Watson made to peer at what was inside.
Nah! Don't do that, Watson!
Hiding it like that is just going to make us all the more curious what's in there. We're all detectives, remember? I'm relatively certain you're only interested in the food. It doesn't take a detective to deduce that. Of course I'm interested in the food.
What is it?
Nah!
Watson, quick to ignore protests and eager to discover its contents, leant over to take the lunchbox.
What? Lupin, what? You can't be... What is this?
Upon peeking inside, Watson looked as though he were trying to restrain himself from a reaction of some kind.
I've never seen a lunch quite like this, to be certain.
Well, this is something.
I have seen nothing. Nothing at all.
Is it really so unique?
Do you see now why I didn't want anyone to look, but you couldn't resist? You're all such ruthless brutes.
Beg your pardon. I couldn't help myself. But who, made this?
My dad.
My! He's a true artist!
Really? You have my sympathies. Quite sincerely. Keep your pecker up now.
This is rather a special sight.
I can't keep it in any longer.
Stop, Watson! I was doing so well!
Watson and Kobayashi were clutching their sides in laughter, and everyone else had presented Lupin with their most supportive peers and pouts. Curiosity piqued, I thought to finally see for myself. Goodness! It's a heart-shaped kedgeree with your name on it. Lupin himself was colored red with embarrassment, but I was rather colored impressed. I wish these days could go on forever. My quiet whisper disappeared with the wind, heard by and reaching no one. And now we get to finally start Akachi's route.